Okay, good morning. As usual, if you have any questions at all, please use the chat function, and you can send us any questions on any topic, not just specifically related to this. I have a short session this morning, so if you do have any questions out there, please send them over, and we should have plenty of time to address anything that you have any questions on. So I have this slide in here that I put in earlier in the week before I sent this out to everyone about an update to the appendices for clarification. And I just wanted to let everyone know there may be some future clarification coming on this particular topic, but at this time, I don't think that any clarification will actually change the way anything is done. So the question had to do, after I presented this during our last session, about who is supposed to send the PO. And on here, it indicated that the SPO sends it. And so we received a question, and I know that what is the standard process out of the agencies is different. And the reason this is indicated that the SPO sends the PO was a convenience kind of thing. But I think in reality, in the actual practice, in many or most cases, the agency is actually sending it, and that is the agreed upon arrangement between the SPO and the agency. So we've added a double asterisk here that says that this is just recommended guidance. And the truth of the matter is that's why this document is called the BidBuy Action Guidance instead of requirements or some other more definitive word. This is general guidance. So this is recommended, and if you and the SPO, the agency and the SPO both agree, the agency certainly can send the PO. And so we may actually do some more clarification based on our feedback and make it really clear if we find out that there's very few instances where the SPO is actually sending it. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. There is no specific requirement that the SPO must send the PO, but it can be done as sort of a convenience measure. So hopefully that's clear. Let's see if we have any questions on that. So I'm hearing that there's someone out there that does not have audio. Can someone please confirm that you are hearing me this morning? Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you. Yes, it's just the one individual. Thanks. Okay, great. Let me send that back out. Okay, so that's that item. The other thing that I wanted to share with everyone this morning is another reminder. There were some questions as it related to this presentation from last week also, and as it pertains to a release off of a multiple award contract. I think there was some confusion. I may have used the word approval, but the most important takeaway for everyone to understand is that if you are doing a release off of a multiple award contract, and that would be a joint purchasing master contract through the UP program, you must receive UP approval before you can send that release. So that's the most important thing to know. And then I think the clarification or the question came about exactly how you get that, whether you need to add an approver, and it's actually setting a reminder. So if you had a question about, gosh, how do I get that UP approval, and do I need to add an approver, manually add something, the actual instruction here for a release off of a multiple award is that you go out to the Reminders tab and you set a reminder to the SPO. The SPO then adds a reminder to UP staff, and the UP staff provides the response via a reminder, and then the SPO provides their response. So I just wanted to clarify that, and we've added, this here because we have had some instances where these releases off of multiple award contracts are being sent without the UP approval. So make sure, and this really should help clarify it, and this is what's posted out on the trainer support website, which this is a good opportunity for me to remind everyone. And, you know, I know I've talked about this a number of times, but always make sure when working with documents, and I know for some of us, it's not our preferred way of doing things, but that you are using the latest, greatest versions that are out there on the trainer support website. So, you know, to make sure that you have all of the up-to-date information. As much as we've been live for a while now, we're still getting clarifications on an ongoing basis. Sometimes they're very minor, and sometimes they're a little more significant. When they're more significant, we make every effort to make sure that they get covered during these sessions. And for those of you who haven't been using it, these sessions are always recorded, and I try and keep them as short as we possibly can. Someone had a question, what is UP-Staff? So it is, UP is the uniform, let me pull it up, but let me get it real quick for you, I'll show you, and this will actually be helpful. Probably would be a good idea if I had those letters memorized. And let me go down here. So this is the logo for UP. And it is the Unified Procurement Program. That's not too complicated. I think after today I'll probably always remember it. UP stands for Unified Procurement Program. It is a joint purchasing program, and UP staff are the staff that approve procurements as it relates to joint purchasing contracts. So if you're doing a release off of a multiple award contract, if you're doing a joint purchase between your agency and another agency, anything that has the master contract or JP master contract listed in the description will be subject to UP, and you'll want to look at the instructions related to UP. So hopefully that was helpful. Okay. Yeah, and so we had one person say, just to confirm, the agency does not need to manually add the SPO as an approver when they submit for approval, correct? SPO approval is given via the reminder and signature on the release of master contract form, and the answer to that is correct. So that is that question. And then another question. Some SPOs are requiring financial disclosures be included on the bid tab before they will approve for bid. Appendix B says they should be attached at the PO, which is correct. That's a good question, and if an SPO wants them at the bid tab, then they should be attached at the bid tab. I will follow up and see if we want that to be a uniform direction. So bid tab, attach, disclosures. So I'll clarify that. Thank you for that question. Yeah, and that was clarified. Okay, so that's helpful. Let's see what else I have here. Okay. And end user support process, and I really want to underscore this today. We're seeing a number of questions coming into the help desk without the SPO or someone, on this list being included. So I really wanted to clarify, anyone who is sending a question over to the state user help desk, please do add the APO, the SPO, and the relevant people to your question. I think we're seeing a little bit of an increase in the number of questions that are really probably better suited for your SPO. We do not want to provide answers that are, within the SPO's realm and authority to be providing that direction. So just a big reminder, I'm sure we can get, everyone doing that, and I know it's just sometimes you want to get a question off really quick and so you just shoot it off, but please do remember to CC the others that are involved in this process. And, that's especially true when we give our responses. We want to make sure that everyone's seeing it, everyone's in agreement, and we're all on the same page. So just that reminder, include everybody. Just some general instruction about legacy contracts and doing change orders and renewals. So if you're getting ready to do a change order or a renewal on a legacy contract and you did not get that legacy contract input into BidBuy during the legacy contract period, you may have a circumstance where that legacy first will need to be entered into BidBuy, and if it was not entered into BidBuy, so the standard process is that legacy contract is there, and you can go ahead then and take all the appropriate next steps. But if the contract is not there, please contact your SPO for additional instructions. So you're going to want to work with the SPO on that. So legacy contracts, just know that when you're creating change orders, you need to be doing that off of a base document. When you're doing renewals, you're going to need to, in most cases, be doing that off of your base document, but not just going in necessarily and starting a new document within BidBuy. Okay, and especially, so some of these things are particularly relevant right now, especially at this time of year, as we get close to the end of the year. Make sure your registrations and deactivations are up to date in BidBuy. Critical. It's a very basic, fundamental responsibility to ensure that only those who have authorized access at your agency continue to have that authorized access. So always good to make sure that you're up to date, you know who has your the authorization, and you know who has the access. And it's like I said, this time of year, more important. The other reminder is, it really is something, if you haven't looped in your HR department on that, and I know I'm probably sounding like a broken record to many of you, but loop them in, because they take care of a lot of that when people change positions, and so just make them part of the process so that we all ensure everything is getting taken care of properly. And then just ongoing, continue to look at your business processes. I haven't seen a lot of activity going on approval paths, which is good news. It probably means everyone's fairly well satisfied. But do know if you have people, who are leaving, who are on those approval paths, that you're going to need to ensure that you get them replaced on the approval path, and that you don't end up with documents that are trapped in Never Never Land because someone's on the approval path that no longer is in the system. All agency contracts really should be input at this time, and they should have been, reviewed. And then ongoing staff training. And if you have any questions about that, always reach out to us, because we're always available to assist with any questions you have about that. So it's just all the ongoing reminders. Nothing new. These are all the contact, phone numbers and email addresses and so on and so forth. Just a reminder, every once in a while we do see questions coming through about how to get vendors added if they're not in the system. The general guidance around that is the agency should work first to try and get that vendor to go ahead and register in the system. But if that's unsuccessful, then you reach out to the vendor help desk. The vendor help desk is your resource for that, and they will be very helpful. So everything else, up-to-date user or ERP-specific questions over to ERP. BidBuy forms, alternative forms, continue to be at that location. I've not heard anything lately about people having issues working with forms within BidBuy. If you do, please let us know. There's usually a really quick fix for that. BDP, still working on that, so stay tuned, and that should be coming out soon. And that really is all of my prepared information for today. Let me see. I think we may have some additional questions. Okay. So I do have a response from an SPO, and I can look at some of our documents that say disclosures are needed before the award. This is back to that question of, do we attach disclosures on the bid tab? And so I have a clarification that did come through that says disclosures are needed before the award, which that makes perfect sense. They need to be reviewed. And the bid tab is where the SPO makes the award. So I think that the general, direction, barring anything new, is that yes, requiring disclosures before the award, absolutely, and attaching them at the bid tab, absolutely. So it sounds like there is an update that needs to be made, possibly to the Appendix B. I'll take a look at that. Someone said, how do we obtain a list of agency users who have access? Reach out to the State User Help Desk for that, if you want to review that. And what is the procedure to formally change the approval path, please? Same thing, reach out to the State User Help Desk and let us know what you need, and someone will work directly with you to make sure that that is up to date. And there's an inquiry about not having an open bid under BP, and that there was someone who reached out to the help desk and hasn't received a response. So I will follow up with that and see if I can find that for you and see where that's at. So someone says, how can we contact the vendor prior to award for corrections to financial disclosures? I'm going to leave that as a question for your SPO for specific instructions. So I'll leave that one out there for the SPO. I don't think that one falls under the BidBuy side of things. And then there's one other question in here that has to do with PPP notification for small purchases, $50,000 and above. Off the top of my head, I want to double check that. So I will double check that, and if there's any change to that, I'll let you know next time. But thank you very much for all of the questions and comments. That's how we get everything as precise as we can and get everyone on the same page. Okay, that's all the questions I have out here right now. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on hold for just a minute and see if we have any other last-minute questions. But thank you so much for participating, and this is very helpful for us. Okay, that is all the questions I have. So we will see you again in 2 weeks. In the meantime, send anything over to the State User Help Desk that you need, unless it's vendor related or ERP related, and we will get back to you as quickly as we can. Thank you.